society. And really, when we talk about a worldview, we're not just talking about our belief systems in a vacuum. We're talking about beliefs that shape how we live our lives, the moral choices we make, the ethical decisions we make, and our overall ethical framework and view of the world, view of our personal lives, view of other people's lives, the view of history, things like self-worth, what the value of a human being is. All of those things come from a person or a culture's general prevailing worldview. And so, obviously, if a worldview has ideas that are beneficial and have high value of human beings and have some absolutes that cannot be moved or changed, that worldview is going to translate into moral principles and ethical beliefs and systems and ethical views of people that are going to reflect a high value of human beings. And so, of course, there are many variations of those things, but that's what a worldview does, is it gives shape to how we live and view the world. And with that, I want to say a few things about this course and some of the things that I'm hoping you'll find happening as you're spending time in the course. And one of them is of course, to examine your own view of life and world and discover what your own worldview is. That short quiz I gave you was a really quick look, just kind of an introductory little bite there. And I'm going to be introducing another quiz very soon, a little bit of a test, actually. You're not graded on it. I guess that word sounds like something you'd be graded on. But it's a worldview quiz by the Summit Ministry Organization. One of the recommended books is put out by them in the recommended listing in the syllabus, Battle of Ideas about God, the secret battle of ideas about God. And it's a worldview test that will be a little more specific and allowing some nuances in how you answer questions. You didn't really have room to answer with any nuance in the first short quiz that I gave you. But it will help give you a picture of what your worldview is and what it will do. It's totally confidential. It will send me a report, the way that I have it set up, of everybody's worldview together. I won't know how you answered specifically. I'll just know what the percentages are with our group in this class. And I think it's really neat, and I'll share that once I have that in one of the videos. And I think we'll all benefit from an understanding of where we're at and some of the areas where there may be some surprises. I don't know yet. We'll see how that goes. One thing that is very important in this course is that you come to understand the Christian view of everything. And that sounds so basic, and we know that that's a biblical thing, that calls us to biblical standards. But when we say the Christian view of everything, we're talking about the big things of a worldview. And that's things like, where does everything come from? What is a human being? What is the value of a human being? What gives us meaning and value? What is our purpose in the world? What happens to us when we die? And what is history all about? What is the purpose of history? And another big one with worldviews is, how do we fix the world's problems? Where do the problems ultimately come from? And how do we fix the world's problems? And those guide entire cultures and nations and political systems and regimes, beliefs based in those things. They're answers to those questions. And so we want to know what the Christian answers are in their fundamental form, making the Christian worldview. We're going to spend some time looking at competing worldviews, some of the key competitors to a Christian worldview. When I say competitor, sometimes actively, there are leaders in those worldviews and those belief systems and thought that are actively seeking to replace the Christian worldview. But in many ways, the competitors are simply there in our society and in our popular media and in the minds of our celebrities and leaders and many other ways, competing for allegiance and countering and challenging the Christian worldview. And we'll want to know some of the key competitors. And so we're going to look for ways to spend some time on things like the secular humanist worldview and the postmodernist worldview, the new spirituality, what used to be called when I was a kid, it was referred to as New Age, and sometimes still is, but it's more often now called the new spirituality or the new spiritualist view. And we'll probably spend some time on some more. And so it will see when we look at worldviews and we look at some of the ultimate, some of the foundations of those, and also some of the outcomes of those worldviews, I think it will help us to see the connection between worldview and morality and ethics, which is how we live our lives. And we'll find that morals and ethical systems in people's lives and in societies come out of prevailing worldviews. And so that connection is important in the material in this course. And then one of the things that I'm hoping and praying for is that you will personally grow not only in your foundation of knowing what the fundamental beliefs that you hold are and how important they are to your view of life and world, but also that you would be strengthened personally so that you can increase your influence in the lives of others and be an influencer for God in that area, be a strong voice, be a person who has a strong voice for the value of human beings, and to build hope into people because they have value for who they are because they're created in the image of God, and be able to voice those kinds of things and have a sense of how important those fundamental beliefs are to people in the world. And so I'm believing God to really bring that into your life. And I just want to finish here with this scripture. There's so many things I'd like to say, but I want to finish with this scripture, 1 Chronicles 12:32. It's an interesting scripture to bring because it's only a partial one in a long list of Israelite people. And in verse 32, it says, it suddenly names this group of people from Issachar, men who understood the times and knew what Israel should do. 200 chiefs with all their relatives under their command. Let me read that again. 1 Chronicles 12:32, and this is from the NIV. From Issachar, men who understood the times and knew what Israel should do. 200 chiefs with all their relatives under their command. I'm believing God to keep investing in you and to use this course to build you up and to help you understand the times that we live in, and to use you as a chief among thinkers around you, thinkers and believers around you, and help you lead others and help you use you to clear the fog that you will find others have in the fog, in the mist of confusion that so many believers have about some of these issues, and what are the fundamental things in our faith system, and can we believe in absolutes. And I'm believing God to make you a chief among thinkers. And so I hope you have a blessed weekend, and I'll look forward to interacting with you soon. God bless.